Hey folks, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to the plot. If you're new here, I'm JB and normally I make weekly allotment videos about this plot that you see behind me, but today we're doing something a little bit different. I'm going to be talking about what you can be planting at this time of year, the end of August, maybe early September. So I really hope you find today's video interesting or maybe useful. If you do, perhaps subscribe, stick around, see what else I'm up to on the allotment. So, we're coming to the end of summer. Personally, I'm quite thankful. The past week has been so hot. But yeah, as we come to the end of summer, the days are getting shorter, plants are going to have less and less time to photosynthesize, and it's a bit of a tricky time for a gardener. One of the questions I see asked the most is, what can you grow around this time of year? Lots of people that you speak to, some of the people that I've spoken to, neighbours, they say they just don't bother this time of year. They don't plant anything over winter, and that's fine. If you want to do that, that's fine. But if you get the timing right, there are a few things that you can grow. Now, I've been really busy this summer. I haven't been up the allotment as much as I would like to, and I'm not that well prepared for winter. So most of this video is going to be based on research, but I will be trying a few things, and you can stick around and see how they go if you're interested. Now, a lot of the plants I'll be talking about as well will be specific strands. Breeders have spent years and decades breeding plants that are hardy over winter, and if you can get the timing right, then they'll put on a bit of growth until around Halloween, and then hopefully they'll be able to lie dormant for the rest of winter. They won't bolt, they won't go to seed, and winter will act like a natural fridge for your plants, preserving them until they're ready in spring to start putting on some new growth. If you are leaving your beds empty, then there's lots of green manures that you might want to plant as well, and these are really handy because they help suppress weeds, they help keep your weed growth down, and they return nutrients and soil organic matter when you dig them back into the soil at the end of their growing period. And there's loads of different types of green manure that you can buy, and they all do something slightly different. There are nitrogen fixing green manures like legumes, which will take nitrogen from the air, draw it into your soil, which will then be available to the plants that are there afterwards. There are some green manures as well which act as pesticides in the soil, so there's species such as eelworm which can affect your potatoes, and with the right green manure you can dig that in and it will kill off those pests. The other thing about planting on this time of year is that it's very dependent on your local climate. So I'm down here in the south where it's probably a little bit easier, I can get away with planting things a little bit later, but with that said, I've got a massive list of things that you can plant mid to late August. So first, let's talk about what can be sown as seeds this time of year. One of the first ones I'm going to be trying today are spring onions. Now, I've got a variety called White Lisbon, and White Lisbon also has a White Lisbon Winter Hardy variety, which are specifically for overwintering, and I'm not sure if mine will succeed, but we'll find out. Another one you can sow this time of year is pak choi, Chinese cabbage. I'm going to be trying that as well. There's spring cabbages as well that you can sow at this time of year, and I've got some that are already grown, germinated in the greenhouse, but they've been in there for quite a long time. I'm going to put a few of them out, but I'll probably sow some seeds as well. There are all kinds of salads and lettuce that you can be planting at this time of year. There's winter varieties of lettuce and autumn varieties. I'll flash some names up here. But yeah, suffice to say, winter is actually a pretty good time to grow lettuce, especially if you've got cover or cloches or a cold frame or something like that. It's a good time of year for spinach as well. I've got some Medania spinach which I'm going to sow if I can find the space, and that should do quite nicely as well. Spinach, if you plant it when it's too warm, will bolt almost instantly, which is what happened to me earlier in the year. Another one, kohlrabi. I've grown loads of kohlrabi this year, and you can still sow it up till late August and September. There's turnips as well, which I'm not growing because, I mean, come on. If you're feeling really adventurous, there's some early potatoes that you can plant this time of year. Aran pilot is a good example, and that will overwinter, and then that'll come up really early next year. You can still be planting fast maturing carrots at this time of year, varieties such as early Nantes. Leaf beet or Swiss chard, which I always struggle to say, is another really good one this time of year, and I've got lots of that planted out at the moment, but you can still be sowing it up till now. There's some others as well, some slightly curious ones like endive, which should do okay, and radishes as well can go out at this time of year. I don't really grow them because I don't like them, but they're very popular. So that's what can be sowed as seed. If you've got things planted out already and you're well prepared, then you might be able to put out things like kale, Savoy cabbage, or cauliflower, that kind of thing. Another quick tip for this time of year, just because I've got these and I'm here, you really want to be making sure that you've pinched out all the growing tips of your tomatoes. You don't want them putting energy into new growth, you want them putting energy into the fruit, because it's getting on in the year, and if you don't get the fruit early, then the plants will die before they set fruit. Another tip is to make sure that you're still watching your brassica leaves like a hawk. Still be on the lookout for cabbage white caterpillars, because although the butterflies season is done, the caterpillars might still be munching their way through your leaves. So that covers the vast majority of the things that you can plant out this time of year. I did want to give an honourable mention to garlic. You want to be getting that nice and early because you can plant that September to November. Now it's really important that you do plant your garlic before winter. You can plant it in spring, but the bulbs don't form the same way. When they go through that super cold snap, it changes the way that the bulbs form and you get a much better garlic. The reason that I didn't have any garlic this year is because we only took this plot on in September and we spent the entirety of winter getting it clear instead of actually planting anything. So the majority of my beds are pretty much full at the moment. There's not too many gaps, but I am going to take up the last of my potatoes at the moment, and this is going to give me a nice half a bed to be planting some of the crops that we've just been talking about. There's some other gaps here and there that I can see, and I'm going to plant those up as well. One thing I should mention is the allotment tradition of the Christmas spud. It's tradition to take some of your first dug up potatoes and plant the small ones in the greenhouse, and if you leave them in there, they should be ready around Christmas time for your Christmas roast. For some reason, these potatoes in particular are so deep. It's crazy. They're so much deeper than the others. So for reference, I've just got to show you how deep these potatoes are and why this is taking me like 15 times as long as I expected. That was about 10 times more work than I thought it would be. And not that many potatoes at the end of it. Not the best haul, not the worst, but yeah, I'll sort this out and we can plant some stuff in it. It was a pretty good haul actually. A lot of these are a really good size. By far the best performing potatoes I've had on the plot. Quite happy. And here we've got a small little handful of seed potatoes that I can hopefully keep till next year. We'll see whether or not they keep. Well, it's starting to absolutely chuck it down now and my camera is not at all waterproof, so we'll return very soon to plant out some crops. So a couple of seconds for you, but a few days for me. The weather has cleared up. We've got a lovely summer's evening to get this bed and a few other bits planted up. The first thing that we're going to be planting out are these earliest of all spring cabbages. Now, to be completely honest with you, I had forgotten about these. I found these at the back of the greenhouse. They've been sowed since April. I don't think they're going to be successful, but you never know. They're still alive. There's really nothing fancy to what I'm doing here. The seedlings are getting a little bit of blood, fish and bone because this soil will be probably quite depleted from the potatoes. Now obviously cabbages get really big and this is a very close planting if this seed row succeeds as well as the seedlings, but I don't think these seedlings are going to succeed, which is why I've gone for quite so close. Not sure what to do next. Let's have a little look in the greenhouse. So in the seed box, I think I've got a few of the plants on the list that I was going through earlier, which could be planted out today, and if we're lucky, they'll grow and survive over winter. The 3 species I've got are white Lisbon spring onion, Medania spinach, and pak choi, or Chinese cabbage. In addition, I've got some small, delicate Alexandria strawberries. These are alpine strawberries, tiny little fruits, but they're meant to be really sweet. I grew these from seed back in spring, and they should be okay to go out into the small strawberry bed today. So in the rest of this leek bed, ex-potato bed, I'm going to do a couple of rows of pak choi. I'll just water these in and then onto the spinach, I think. Next up, spring onions. Now the bed I've chosen for the spring onions has been mostly salads, and I have had onion white rot on this plot, but it was on a different bed. And I did have some onions in this one, but they all came up okay, so hopefully these won't be affected by onion white rot. Onions in. Last one, spinach. This is the last row. I'm going to do the spinach in a line either side of the kale, and it's about the only space I've got left, so So here we are at this mini raised bed that I built earlier this year for the strawberries. Had a really good year with strawberries, but Last episode you will have hopefully seen me cutting back all the strawberries. I went to pot on the runners, but they've not really set many runners out at all. Now, I'm not sure exactly the reason for that, but I think it's probably just that they're nearing the end of their life. They were donated to me. I'm not sure exactly how old they are. But I did get a couple of runners, and we've got the ones in the greenhouse to come out. I've got here some kohlrabi and some cabbage, which wasn't very successful at all, so we'll get those out and the new strawberries in. Oh dear. Not good. I think we're fine. Now, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't nervous about these. I'm not particularly knowledgeable when it comes to strawberries, but someone on Facebook, you should always trust what people tell you on Facebook. Someone on Facebook said that these would be fine to go out for the winter. I was a bit worried about them because it's quite late in the season, but they look pretty healthy, so we'll get them out and we'll have a look. Same again for these ones, nothing special, just giving them a little bit of blood, fish and bone in the base to kickstart them. This bed is really rich. There was a big pile of compost here that was breaking down when we took over the plot, and it's one of the reasons I decided to build the bed here instead of distributing it everywhere else. And yeah, judging by how many strawberries grew in this tiny little bed, it's pretty rich. The plane going over. There we go, one rejuvenated strawberry bed. So there we have it, folks. That's everything that you could be growing around this time of year if you get in quick. If you get it in the ground now, enjoy these lovely summer evenings, you should be okay. Hope you enjoyed as well getting to see what I was up to on my plot and actually putting some things out. If you did enjoy that, then you might enjoy some of my other videos. We took this allotment on about a year ago, almost this time last year, and I've got a video going right back from the beginning of what it looked like when we started, and I try to do one every week, so there's a little update. I love making them, and thank you ever so much for watching them. If you have enjoyed it, please do consider dropping me a like and subscribe, and ring the notification bell if you want to be notified every time I upload a new video. But maybe share this one with other people, other gardeners that you know as well, if you think they'll enjoy it. And yeah, as always, thank you ever so much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you again next time.